The views and opinions expressed by the host and callers of this program are not necessarily the views of Genesis Communications, its management, or its sponsors.
Genesis Communications presents the show that's helping people see better and feel better all over Florida. It's Ask the Doctor with board-certified optometric physician, certified nutritional specialist, and popular radio host, Dr. Michael Lange of Lange Eye Care and Associates.
Doctor, my eyes, I cannot see the sky. Is this the price for having learned how not to
Okay,
lie?
good morning, and welcome to Ask the Doctor. I'm your host, as usual, Dr. Michael Lange of the Lange Eye Institute, Fortify Vitamins, and Paleo Simplified. If you've got a question regarding your vision, eye care, or a nutritionally related topic, pick up the phones and give me a call. 727-586-2820. That's 727-586-2820. We're broadcasting through a variety of networks this morning, certainly News Talk 820 here in Largo, Florida, and 98.3 FM in Clearwater, the Sky 98.7 FM up in the Gainesville, Florida area, and a variety of other networks. So remember, I've been hosting Ask the Doctor since, April of 1993 on multiple radio networks. A lot of you remember when I had a drive time show here on News Talk 820. I was there every day, literally every day. Sunday we ran a tape, but I was live Monday through Saturday from 9 to 10. Anyway, I'm back just on Saturdays, and we are live today. I know I ran a lot of tapes when I was in Europe playing volleyball with my daughter, but back in the saddle. School's back, and it's interesting. A lot more traffic on the way to work in the mornings. Hopefully you got your kids a complete eye exam. If not, certainly bring them by the Lange Eye Institute. A comprehensive eye exam is a good way to figure out why they might not be comprehending, or their reading comprehension isn't as good as it should be. Maybe their grades aren't as good as it should be, because maybe they need a pair of glasses. And quite frankly, school screenings oftentimes will miss the children that are farsighted, the children that have focusing problems, muscle problems in their eyes. School screenings are good at picking up kids that are nearsighted, the ones that can't see in the distance, but they know they can't see in the distance. These other kids are oftentimes the ones that get labeled as attention deficit disorder, dyslexic, just not up on par with the rest of the class, and they just may need a pair of reading glasses. All right, so the Lange Eye Institute is in the Villages. Let me give you the phone number to the Lange Eye Institute if you'd like to see any of our great doctors. Dr. Michael Tolentino is now at the Eye Institute. He's a world-renowned retina specialist, Harvard-trained retina specialist. Certainly myself, Dr. Lori Caputi, Dr. Yedi Exposito, and a great gang of doctors at the Lange Eye Institute. So the phone number for the Lange Eye Institute is 352-753-4014. That's 352-753-4014. You can learn more at langeeyecare.com, langeeyecare.com. All right, let's go back to the phones. I bet we know who's first today. Bob, good morning. Welcome to the program, and thanks for holding.
Good morning, Dr. Lang. Good to have you back on. First things first, how's Dad doing?
I went and had dinner with him last night. We're going to pick him up after the radio show and hang out with Mom and Dad. We're going to bring him out to our bay home, have lunch and dinner with him. He's had physical therapy for 2 weeks now, and he's using his walker at least. He hasn't fallen in 3 weeks. Hallelujah. When he was at his lake home in Mississippi, he fell 4 times in 2 weeks. And every time he fell, he broke something or lacerated something. So his wounds are healing. And since he hasn't fallen again, he's improving. His disposition's a little bit better. He doesn't want to leave as quickly now. They're enjoying having the 3 meals a day. And so I'm going to give him, I told him 90 days, we're going to have you back in shape, and I'll move you back to your lake house that he loves so much in Mississippi. But we're going to give it 90 days to see if he gets his strength back. He can actually sit down and get up at the dinner table now without anybody helping him, which he couldn't do, 2 weeks ago. So he's getting better.
Excellent.
Thanks for asking.
Doctor. Yes, sir. My call this morning is kind of for me for a change. After I had my open heart surgery, every time I have dental work now, they put me on a blast of antibiotics. Now, I understand that. But my question is, once I'm done with the antibiotic and I go back on my fortified probiotic,
Mm-hmm.
Does it come to a point where I've ingested too much probiotic, or does the body flush what it doesn't need?
Yeah, it's difficult for you to overdo probiotics, especially if you're taking the fortified probiotic bacteria. If you take 3 a day, literally you can take 3 a day for the rest of your life, and you're not going to OD on it. I mean, if you took a whole bottle every day, who knows what that would do, but probably still wouldn't hurt you. I mean, it might do just the opposite. You might get some, get the runs. But when you're on antibiotics, oral antibiotics, everybody needs to be on a good probiotic. And when you're on those oral antibiotics, I mean, I'd start a few days before and then stay on 3 a day, probably for a couple of 2-3 weeks after you get off the oral antibiotics. Then you can always take one probiotic a day, just pretty much indefinitely. Take it at bedtime or first thing in the morning. And remember, eat some fermented foods frequently during the week as well. And, I think last time you had talked to me asked me a little bit about probiotics and MS for your wife. And, and I didn't know a lot about it, but I did a little bit of research on there. And there's some emerging science now that's talking about probiotics. Mayo Clinic did this study, the Mayo Clinic up in Rochester, Minnesota, not in Jacksonville. And they found that different types of cultured bacteria in the human intestines. Now, this was in mouse models, if I recall, all right? If there was a specific probiotics, it might actually decrease and suppress some of the MS, the multiple sclerosis, especially the symptoms in these mice. So we think it helps with the demyelination process, and it helps with these pro-inflammatory cytokines and things of this nature. So probiotics are probably a good idea for anybody that has multiple sclerosis to be on right now. There's not a double-blind, placebo-controlled study proving any of this yet, but it's certainly not going to hurt. And I think I'd highly recommend your wife being on the probiotics.
All right. Well, I wasn't expecting that, but that's excellent. That's excellent. Very good. Thank you very much.
All right, Bob. You take care.
Are you going to be driving?
Not this week, but I am. And if it's possible next week, I'm on a list trying to get in because my car was finally done now. I got it in the garage. So the following week, I will be racing at Sebring, and then I start a series where we hit Sebring, New Orleans, Birmingham, Miami, Homestead, and Road Atlanta. So we'll be talking a lot more about racing very soon.
Okay, very good.
Right,
thanks, Dr. Lange. Take care of yourself, man.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, phone lines are open. We got a new number, 727-586-2820. That's 727-586-2820. Also, we got some specials going on I got to tell you guys and gals about. Also, you can watch us on News Talk Florida Facebook page right now. News Talk Florida Facebook. And we got some specials. I'm going to try to link us up to my Facebook page, too, if I can. Let me see. Here we go. Share. Just bear with me for 1 second. I'm going to share it on that page. And now, while I'm talking, it's hard to do 3 things at once. Now I'm going to share this one more time onto the Fortify Vitamin page. All right, and I'm going to share. Hold on one more second. I'm almost there. Share to a page. This way anybody can watch. All right, so now I've got it shared on multiple Facebook pages. All right, we're getting ready to take another phone call here in just a second, so Steve, bear with me. I want to tell you guys and gals about this special. This is like an end-of-summer blowout extravaganza. You got to get your pen and paper, write these promo codes down because they're going to be 50% off. Remember, once a year, maybe twice a year, I do something like this on special items, okay? So it's back to school blowout extravaganza in the summer. So Our Paleo Simplified bars, a lot of you are using these. These are energy bars. They're all raw. They're organic. They're non-GMO. All right. Now, they're not Snickers bars. All right. They don't taste. All right. So we got one called chocolate coconut almond. Now, you're thinking that's going to be like a Mounds bar. It's not. So if you think it's a Mounds bar and you're looking for a Mounds bar, it's not. It's a raw bar. It uses dates, no binders, no fillers. We use goji berries. We use tart cherries for the anti-inflammatory properties. Everything is raw. There is no synthetic binder or filler. So since it's raw, it's got a unique taste to it. You got to like dates, all right, because that's kind of the binder. But they're energy bars, and you eat one of these, it's low glycemic index. Disregard the sugar that's in it because it's low glycemic index sugar. That means it's spread out throughout the day, basically. It doesn't stimulate your pancreas to oversecrete insulin, your blood sugar drop. So you can literally eat one of these at 6 o'clock in the morning, and you're not hungry until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So if you're biking, if you're working out, if you're a triathlete, anything like this, or you're just a weekend warrior or just a business person, eat these bars during the day, and they're really good for you. So Paleo Simplified bars, you're getting 50% off if you use BAR 50, BAR 50, 50% off on the Paleo Simplified bars. You can go to paleosimplified.com, and you can use BAR 50, or simply just go to the Fortify website, fortify.com, then go to the Paleo Simplified energy bars, and then at checkout, there's a promo code section, put BAR 50 in. All right. Now, the blue-green superfood we've been talking about. I created one of the first organic, certified organic, gluten-free, FODMAP-free superfood with no added fiber. The fiber blocks the absorption of the antioxidants. So it's a little scoop. These are pure antioxidants. We've got 1,000 milligrams of these nutrients each in these things, not 10 milligrams. So it has a therapeutic efficacy. So 1,000 milligrams of organic spirulina, 1,000 milligrams of barley grass and wheatgrass juice, 1,000 milligrams of blueberries, 1,000 milligrams of spinach and kale. And then we've got strawberries, cranberries, peppermint leaf, cucumbers, parsley, and we flavor it with a little bit of organic stevia leaf, the section of the stevia leaf that doesn't give you that aftertaste. So there's only 1 gram of sugar, I think 1 or 2 carbs. So low-carb diets can take it, diabetics can take it. So it's called Fortify Organic Blue-Green Superfood. You get 50% off on this if you use the promo code SUPERFOOD50. SUPERFOOD50. This has the antioxidant power equivalent to 8 to 10 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Most nutritional experts are saying 10 to 13 servings of fruits and vegetables a day for anti-aging. All right, so those are 2 50% off deals I'm offering today. Paleo Simplified bars, 50% off if you use BAR 50. And then the blue-green, organic blue-green superfood, 50% off if you use Superfood 50. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let me give you the Steve. Let's see. Steve in Tampa. Good morning.
Let's knock out all the regulars, Doctor. I have a comment first on the MS thing. I've mentioned it before, but I've had great luck in referring people to doctors that will prescribe nystatin, or you can just ask your regular doctor for it, because the yeast is like almost always present in these MS patients, and they do really well when you knock that yeast out.
Yeah, so
and some people think, well, the yeast can cause the MS symptoms, and can be misdiagnosed. So it definitely has worked. Absolutely. My question came from my 12-year-old. We were running around as usual the other day, and we were in a Walgreens early in the morning, and he sat down and he got his blood pressure taken. He says, "Oh, geez, it's high." I said, "Well, wait a second, it'll go down." And then I took mine, and it was high. And then you wait a minute, and then you take it again and hit the button. So his logical question, is always out of the mouth of babes. He says, "Well, if high blood pressure is bad, wouldn't it be better to be a calm person and not exercise, live a librarian lifestyle and just have that low blood pressure?" And I couldn't answer him because it's logical, right? You'd think a librarian type that ate small amounts of food and didn't exercise or anything, always kept the blood pressure low, would live 200 years, right? How how can I answer that to them? Because I have no idea, really. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's probably just the opposite. The librarian is probably going to die earlier if we actually did a study. I mean, the librarian's not getting vitamin D outside in the sun, vitamin D deficiency, you can die early. The librarian's not getting a whole heck of a lot of exercise. I mean, putting those books up and a lot, up and down, those books aren't that heavy. So
just think about you and your type A personality like me. We wake up and our blood pressure's up all day long because we never stop moving,
Right.
What's the difference between that good high blood pressure and the bad high blood pressure?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, everybody handles blood pressure differently, just like eye pressure. All right. And we're also starting to find out. I mean, God made a pretty good body. When the blood pressure goes up, maybe there's a reason for it to go up. Right. And so we're using all these synthetic drugs to bring the blood pressure way down. We're finding out, Steve, that we've actually created an epidemic of Alzheimer's, neurodegenerative diseases, and even probably macular degenerative diseases by lowering blood pressure too much. Now, most of these experts are starting to think, we got an 85 and 90-year-old that has a 140 over 90 blood pressure. Maybe we shouldn't worry about that, okay? Because now, obviously, if it goes way high, we're going to need to worry about that because super high blood pressure is going to cause a whole host of problems, as you know, ocular in origin, brain, heart. But, the days where we want to bring blood pressure down to 100 over 60, probably yesteryear. And so once again, the body has to be able to handle elevated blood pressure. So we have a fluctuation, diurnal fluctuation in blood pressure, which is quite normal. But you got to exercise so that your heart can handle the elevated blood pressure. You got to be eating the phytonutrients and the antioxidants that improve the integrity and the elasticity of the linings of the arterioles, so that when your blood pressure goes up, they don't break. See, this is a reason diabetics have so many problems, because a diabetic is kind of like a leaky garden hose in the backyard. Their blood vessels are very brittle. And then high blood pressure on top of a diabetic isn't a good thing because it causes these blood vessels to start to squirt and break, and therefore they go blind from leaky microaneurysms in their retina. So now these nutrients, especially things like the Fortify Focus that has these carotenoids, the lutein, the zeaxanthin, the astaxanthin, some of these nutrients are showing it improves the elasticity of the blood vessel lining, so it enables patients to handle these bouts of high blood pressure. Now, you get that fight or flight syndrome. You have a sympathetic discharge, and it happens to many of us, especially type A personalities, almost on the verge of an anxiety attack. Well, your pupils dilate, you get kind of hot, you get a little anxious, and your blood pressure goes way up. All right. And somebody that's a diabetic, an old diabetic with leaky, fragile blood vessels, that's going to cause potentially an aneurysm in the brain or an aneurysm in the eye. So we just all need to ultimately prevent diabetes. How's that sound? Through proper diet, exercise, proper nutritional supplements.
Doctor, super good information, and diet. It sounds just like a horrible disease, and I feel sorry for people that have it, and the people that are thinking about having it by being overweight need to avoid it. Obviously, after that, I've never heard it put that way. It usually, I think if doctors explained it the way you did, it would, like Scared Straight program. Maybe we need to be scared straight by our doctors and have a little more that ominous thing. Except, if you get here, then you take the medicine. Quick question about when you take your blood pressure at these places. How long should you wait? Sit down and relax before you take it.
Sit down just a minute or two. And then
you and me would probably be about an hour. I'd have to read a book and watch some films, of calming stuff, because my mind's going like 1,000 miles an hour. But another quick question: vitamin E. You never hear about it anymore. Is it still in play?
Vitamin E is an important fat-soluble vitamin, but many people are overdoing it. I mean, I see the lion's share of my patients are taking 1,000 units of vitamin E a day, and that's entirely too much. Most studies indicate you probably only need maybe 100 units of vitamin E a day or less, but it needs to be the mixed tocopherols and tocotrienols. Most vitamin E supplements are D-alpha-L tocopherol. That's the synthetic form of vitamin E. And studies above 400 units a day, there's some studies linked with that causing heart issues. So remember, that's a fat-soluble vitamin. You can build up toxic levels just like vitamin A, palmitate can build up. And believe it or not, vitamin D3, I think, is starting to be overprescribed in this country too. Those are fat-soluble
Yeah, I don't like
vitamins.
the 5,000 and 10,000 IU vitamin D3 things. It's just a little scary. I use 1,000 like 3 times a day. You say you take the baby aspirin every day. Do you think that's necessary, even though you're taking the garlic and the fish oil and all that? You still think we should take it?
Hey, I've cut the baby aspirin back now after some other research, and I've cut it back to, believe it or not, I'm taking a quarter of a baby aspirin at bedtime along with my omega-3 fish oil. So it's super low dose aspirin just to get the resolvins and the protectants to work better from the omega-3. There's some controversy about the whole baby aspirin right now. I mean, most doctors are recommending a baby aspirin, if you're over 60 daily. The problem is if you stop taking that baby aspirin, you can potentially get something called the rebound effect, where it may cause you to have an occlusion, a blockage, or a heart attack or a stroke. So if you're on a baby aspirin, don't stop taking it.
It's a great thing for doctors to recommend because, how many people take a handful of vitamins a day? Almost none. So that may be, that may be all they got right there, the baby aspirin. So
yeah, so if you're taking it, don't stop taking it unless your doctor says. Continue to take it.
I just take the half of the baby one. I'm with you on that because I take a lot of garlic and stuff like that. And when I do cut myself, I see it's pretty watery. It's not thick blood at all. So
fantastic.
Thank you, doctor. You're a wealth of information. You're the only portal for information now, live information from a real doctor in the entire Tampa Bay area. All the other shows are off the air, and we just really appreciate your, years and years of doing this. And you've got plenty of other things you could be doing. From the bottom of my heart, I really, really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate that comment. All right. We got a lot of great callers. 727-586-2820. You're listening to Ask the Doctor. 727-586-2820. And we are streaming live on about 10 different Facebook pages now. I set that up. So if you want to watch me and listen to me, you can. All right. Let me give you the phone number for Fortify Vitamins. If you'd like to order any of the Paleo Simplified or the Fortify line of vitamins, Fortify Vitamins is 866-503-9746. That's 866-503-9746, Monday through Friday. You can go to fortify.com and order any of the products from there. Remember, Fortify is kind of a play on words. It's Fortifeye, so I on the end. Fortif and then I, Fortify. All right, let's go to the phones. Steve in Clearwater, good morning.
Yeah, this might catch you off guard, but could you review what symptoms are in the eyes when a person might have Alzheimer's disease?
That's a great question. So first of all, there's some new evidence, and most eye doctors don't realize that, but there's some new evidence that a combination of 3 things increases your risk of Alzheimer's. Number 1, a specific type of cataract called a cortical cataract. Okay. Number 2, nerve fiber layer atrophy. So we do a specific type of scan where it actually looks at the nerve fiber layer and it measures the thickness. So we can do it 1 year and then we can do it a year later and see if there's any atrophy of that. Certainly other diseases like glaucoma can cause that. And then drusenoid bodies in the retina. So a little yellow fatty deposit called drusen in the macula. So we do a scan that can look for that as well. And so the combination of cortical cataracts, drusen, and nerve fiber layer atrophy does increase your risk dramatically of developing Alzheimer's.
Well, those are very diverse symptoms. There are all kinds of different mechanisms.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if they could find out the commonality that leads back to all 3 of those, they might find out, some treatment. It might lead to some treatment for the disease. I'm just kind of thinking backwards, what I'm saying?
Right. I agree. And, there's definitely a link now, certainly to macular degeneration and Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative diseases as well. And so there is a link, a nutritional link as well. The things that we do for nutritional components for our macular degeneration, we think can help with neurodegeneration as well. And just some things just to throw out there, some things that have been studied now that look promising our organic, non-GMO coconut oil, actually just taking a few teaspoons or tablespoons a day, cooking in it. Turmeric, use that as a spice, or get a good bioavailable form of curcumin like curcumin. And then omega-3 fish oil. Omega-3 fish oil in the triglyceride molecule, similar to the one I developed, Fortify Super Omega. And now there's some interesting emerging evidence. You know, you've heard I ran the tape about Fortify Focus while I was in Europe many times. So most of you are very familiar with Dr. Kieran Heck and our Fortify Focus that we developed. Well, there's some emerging evidence that actually the astaxanthin may be beneficial for neuroprotection as well in the brain. So, you know, something like Fortify Focus or something that has 6 milligrams or up to even 12 milligrams of astaxanthin from real astaxanthin may be beneficial. And then the same things we do for macular degeneration, overall health, you know, cardiovascular exercise, lose the excess body fat, you know, improve the circulation.
You know those nerves you said were in the eyes that were, what did you say, degenerated in Alzheimer's? What did you say those nerves were?
Nerve fiber layer. That's a specific layer of the retina that early stages of nerve fiber layer atrophy can indicate neurodegenerative diseases as well as glaucoma.
Do you know if those, well, Alzheimer's is a lot of cholinergic neurons, and I wonder if those would be cholinergic or adrenergic.
I would have to go back to my biochemistry days.
That's
to
what I
learn
mean.
that.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun to figure out if those three symptoms had anything in common. I think that'd be really cool to. I'll look into that and see if I can find something about it. Kind of go on a fishing expedition and stuff.
Fantastic. I would like to hear. If anybody can figure that out, you can.
Yeah, and I'm still ready to do those radio clinical trials, but I'm trying to find a way to do them so that your opinion would not influence how people reacted to them. So I just don't know how I'm going to do that. But
all right, keep me posted.
Okay.
All right, Steve, take care. Bye-bye. All right, interesting calls. All right, once again, you're listening to Ask the Doctor. I'm broadcasting live. This is, sometime in August 2018. 727-586-2820. Give me a call, 727-586-2820. Anybody in the Sky area, listening audience in the Gainesville, Ocala, Lake City, Village area, call me, 727-586-2820. Let's go back to the phones. David in St. Pete, good morning. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, I keep hearing people don't realize how many people die in their sleep bleeding to death from aspirin. Why don't they ever recommend what aspirin was before the drug companies turned it into something that sends people to the emergency room or die in their sleep? Aspirin. And white willow.
Yeah, white willow bark. Yes.
Why don't people just don't use common sense? It's what aspirin was before they turned it into a drug.
Yep. And now the drug companies are making how many billions of dollars?
How many people, the doctors bury their mistakes. They don't want to write down, well, this person bled to death, and because they took half an aspirin. You can't tell. You tell people, well, why don't you take the white willow bark, and because you didn't got a white, outfit on, they look at you like you're Jerry Lewis reading a comic book with a Nutty Professor glasses, and you tell them, look it up, Google it. It is aspirin. It's just not a drug aspirin,
Right. You're absolutely right. I mean, there's a lot of natural ways of helping to thin the blood that will probably increase longevity. But there's also, by the same token, there's a lot of these natural ways that can overly thin the blood just the way aspirin can, and can interfere and cause you to bleed out. So I have so many patients, you'd believe it, David, that come in to see me, and they're practicing their own form of medicine, and they're on ginkgo biloba, they're on white willow bark, they're on nattokinase, they're on all sorts of things that thin the blood out, but they're not taking aspirin, but their blood is too thin and they're bruising all over their body. So just because it's a natural doesn't necessarily mean it's good for you.
What they tell you before you go into surgery, they tell you whatever, and I'm not disagreeing with this part when they say don't eat fish oil if we go into surgery.
Right.
But,
right.
that makes sense. But they tell you, you can have all the fish you want.
Yeah, that's true. That's a little bit strange. It's interesting because I have a lot of doctors that will say, "Oh, don't take fish oil if you're taking Coumadin because it's going to interfere with the Coumadin," but yet they don't tell them not to eat fish. That's very true.
You know, what gets me is if you tell someone something about, let's say, just she uses this generically. So let's start a civil war out there. Not with you probably, but Coumadin. Let's use that generic term. Not for the drug even, just as an example. Brand X is a sham, and then it says, well, my doctor says, and then you go, well, wait a minute. Everybody knows, everybody has suspicion of Big Pharma, but they're not suspicious of their doctor. but the doctor is not suspicious of Big Pharma. So it's like they're walking into a massage parlor. Let's say they're Baptists. They're walking into a massage parlor. They think it's a regular massage parlor. Well, maybe we shouldn't go there. Well, they're not suspicious of the massage parlor because they think it's a regular place. But then they find out it's not rubbing them right. Well, forget the massage parlor. They're going to a used car place, and they find out the guy's a crook after the fact. Well, anyway, the drug companies are not suspicious. They're suspicious of the drug companies, but their doctor's not. So they're getting all the bad stuff, but because their doctor's not, they're getting all the side effects. And then you tell them Coumadin, look up Coumadin and find out they use it for rat poisoning. They don't care. They care when you tell them that, but when the doctor says it's okay, well, it's still rat poisoning, but my doctor says it's okay rat poisoning.
So it's a vicious cycle, isn't it?
Yeah, because their doctor said it. It doesn't matter what their doctor tells them. Jump off a bridge. It doesn't matter.
All right, David.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, buddy. All right, let's see. We all got our opinions, don't we? David does bring up a point. Just because the doctor says take it doesn't necessarily always mean it's the right thing. And, with all of these new HIPAA laws and everybody having to be online on the computer, all the doctors having to submit their information to the HIPAA compliant satellite. Now, what this is, it's supposed to improve quality of care, because what oftentimes happens with physicians, you're seeing your primary care physician, your rheumatologist, your cardiologist, your psychiatrist, endocrinologist. You're seeing all these doctors where there's not a Mayo Clinic or an Ochsner Clinic everywhere. So you're going to different places. And then these doctors don't have access to all that information, so they don't know what you're taking. I mean, you're 90 years old. You don't know what drugs you're taking. You tell them you're taking 2 drugs and you might be on 9 drugs. So they may prescribe something that's contraindicated to the other medication. Well, the infinite wisdom of our government forcing us as physicians to do this HIPAA compliant stuff through the computer, the MIPS and the PQRS, we submit all of this and we push a magical button and it goes up to a satellite, a HIPAA compliant satellite, where your primary care physicians able to pull that down and look at it. So it makes the access to your medical records to all physicians. The whole idea behind that is so you don't have problems with overprescription of medications, but it doesn't work. I mean, I do this all the time, and then I get a doctor's office saying, just make copies of it and fax it to us because it's faster. Nobody wants to log into the HIPAA compliant satellite. It takes 2-3 minutes. You got to go to a different computer. They don't know what their password is. So this whole thing through the government is totally backfired. And if physicians don't do it, takes the extra 7 minutes per patient to do it, we actually get fined. We get penalized on our Medicare reimbursement for not doing that. So it forces the doctors to do it so they don't lose some of their income. It's supposed to help the quality of care, but it's starting to backfire. But, once again, in physicians' behalf, doctors do prescribe life-saving medications and life-saving surgical procedures all of the time. And, this show isn't to knock them. Of course, I think our society is overly medicated and too much surgery. And the whole idea behind the show is to help people become proactive in their overall health through proper diet, proper supplementation, lifestyle modification. So maybe you see the doctor a little bit less and you don't have to get on prescription medications. All right, let me give you the phone number and we're going to take a couple more calls. 727-586-2820. That's 727-586-2820. Let's go back to the phones. I think it might be Steve in Ocala.
That would be me. Good morning.
What radio station are you listening to?
WSKY.
All right, good. We're coming in there. Absolutely fabulous.
Absolutely. So just a quick comment about what you were just talking about. In my opinion, I think that the quality of personnel in healthcare in most doctors' offices is going downhill. But that's, the part of that lack of desire to use the system and remember the password, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, that's
Right.
that's a separate topic. I could go on for an hour about that. But anyway, so I want to talk about sunglasses. I remember you talked not long ago about sunglasses and color of the lens. And I cannot remember what you said. If you would mind reiterating that.
Right. So sunglasses are very important because not only is it blocking ultraviolet light, but now all the emerging science about the blue light, Steve, blue light from the sun, blue light from indoors. So obviously you can't wear the sunglasses indoors. So blue light production indoors, blue light protection outdoors is a little bit different lens. So we want to protect from the UV and the blue light. So in the olden days, which wasn't too long ago, a brown amber or a rose-colored lens is the best because it has blue filtering properties. So not the gray, the dark gray lens, because it blocks UV, but it doesn't filter the blue light out very well. But now companies like Maui Jim, all right, so Maui Jim, all of their lenses now filter the blue light. So they're using a lens material. It's actually a Japanese monomer that filters the blue light. So if you have a blue laser, it won't go through that lens. So it can be the gray, the rose, the brown, the yellow, the green lens. All of Maui Jim lenses now block the blue light and the UV. So that's a little plug for Maui Jim. They need to sponsor the radio show. So, but if you don't get Maui Jim, if you're going with other sunglass brands that are many good ones, stick with the brown, amber, or the rose colors.
Okay, great.
All right. And let's add something on to that. So, Steve, hopefully you're still listening. Blue light defense and blue light shield is a lens that we carry at the Lange Institute, and we can tint that any color. However, it wouldn't be polarized. So polarization is amazing if you're out in the water. But if you don't want to be polarized, so let's say you're a golfer or you're a mountain biker, you're riding motorcycles, especially bullet bikes, you don't want polarized lenses, all right? So remember, polarization blocks one whole meridian of light, and that's great for driving into the sun. It's great for boating and fishing. But if you're really an avid athlete, it's probably not the best thing because it does decrease the quality of your vision a tad. So blue light defense and blue light shield are lenses that we sell, and we can tint them any color. They block the blue light and they block the ultraviolet light. There's a study that just came out not too long ago that actually shows and proves that the blue light from indoor digital apparatuses, the iPad, the iPhone, well, not just to knock Apple, all right? Any of the smartphones and smart tablets and computers, the television, the LED lighting, the fluorescent lighting is all emitting a frequency of light in the blue spectrum that is damaging our retina. And actually, they're proving with scientific studies that it causes a chemical that destroys the photoreceptors in the macula. So we need to block it. There's two ways. Wear a lens like blue light defense or blue light shield, right? And take Fortify Focus or a product that has lutein, zeaxanthin, and astaxanthin in it, and there's not many in the world. So when we take a product that has triple carotenoid therapy in it, the lutein and the zeaxanthin gets into the macula, improving macular pigment density. That filters this harmful blue light. And then the astaxanthin goes to the front of the eye and the back of the eye, improving circulation to the retina and reducing accommodative strain and focusing strain. So Fortify Focus is perfect for people that are on the computer. And then where Blue Light Defense have a pair of computer glasses made, Blue Light Defense lenses, boom, double whammy against blue light. We're going to help decrease cataract formation, macular degeneration. We're going to help you sleep better because your melatonin levels are going to go up at night. Sleep is so crucial as an anti-aging regimen. All right, phone lines are open. 727-586-2820. That's 727-586-2820. You're listening to Ask the Doctor. I'm Dr. Michael Lange from the Lange Eye Institute. Let's go back to the phones. Ed in Keystone Heights, good morning.
Good morning. I have a question about eye pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the VA and saw a eye doctor, and I had a pressure of 16.
Right.
I normally have 14 to 15, and she at the end of the conversation, she gave me a prescription for eye drops to lower the pressure. And I'm curious about how far should it be lowered, and
right. So
and why should she give a prescription for when I have 16?
Right. Ed, let me ask you a question. Did they run a visual field test, and did they do some digital imaging of your optic nerve?
Yes.
All right. So remember, eye pressure is only one of the clinical signs or potential symptoms or risk factors for glaucoma. So you can have a 25 pressure in your eye and not have glaucoma. By the same token, you can have a 16 pressure and have glaucoma. That's called normal tension or low tension glaucoma. And what they have to do, number one, they have to look at the thickness of your cornea. That's called corneal pachymetry. So we take a measurement of your cornea. If it's thin, if it's thinner than 550 microns, that means your pressure is actually higher than 16. And there's a formula based on the thickness of your cornea. So let's say it's 450 microns, 100 microns thinner than normal. Well, we got to add 5 points to your pressure, so you're really a 21, not a 16 pressure, okay? Then we also have to look at your visual fields to see if they're normal or if they have any glaucomatous loss of vision. We have to look at your optic nerve, something we were talking about earlier in the show with Steve called nerve fiber layer, okay, and ganglion cell layer. We look at these layers with some sophisticated equipment, and if you have what we call dropout or atrophy of these layers and you have visual field loss and your pressure is 16, well, we're going to want to lower the pressure even lower than 16, maybe to 10. So just because you have a pressure that sounds like it's in the normal range doesn't mean it needs to be lower. So it sounds like they're on top of it and they're probably doing what's right for you. But remember, Ed, there's nothing wrong with second opinions.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Keystone Heights. You know, we used to get a lot of callers from Panama City, even Gulf Shores, Alabama. Anybody coming in those areas, give me a call. 727-586-2820. That's 727-586-2820. We're getting ready to take another call here in just a second. Once again, I hail from the Lange Institute. I'm there almost every day during the week, along with a great group of ophthalmologists and optometric physicians. The Lange Institute is in the middle of the state, right in the Villages. The Villages is Golf Cart Central, the geriatric capital, the fastest growing geriatric population in the entire country. Actually, it's the fastest growing population in the entire country right now. They're building like 500 homes a month. It's crazy. So there's well over 100,000 people there. I mean, just, 15 years ago, there was nobody there hardly. So we're there. We have a large facility. It's close to 30,000 square feet. We take care of everything. In our Lange Institute, we also have dentistry, podiatry, naturopathic, hearing, plastic surgery, weight loss clinics. That's Dr. Mayo upstairs. So we've got everything all under one roof. The phone number for the Lange Institute, if you'd like to set up an appointment to see any of our doctors, we take most insurances, is 352-753-4014. One more time, 352-753-4014. Also, before we take the next call, I just want to mention, if you just tuned into the show, I'm running 2 blowout specials, back to school, inventory extravaganza blowouts. So if you're eating our paleo bars, thousands of you are eating them, our paleo simplified energy bars, there's 3 different flavors. I like the pecan pie the best. So these are all natural. They're all raw. They're gluten-free. Remember, they're not a Snickers bar. They're not a Mounds. They're raw, so they have an interesting flavor. It's a good flavor. Some people love them, but some people, when they think they're going to have a Snickers bar, they don't like it then. So you get 50% off, and we're going to run that for probably a couple of weeks, unless the inventory goes out faster, and it's going to sell fast at 50% off. So Paleo Simplified bars, when you buy at Fortify.com or PaleoSimplified.com, use the code BAR50, BAR50. Get 50% off. That code is at checkout. At the very end, there's a promo code section. And then the blue-green superfood has become huge because a lot of you on low-carb diets, a lot of you trying to lose weight, a lot of you just want more antioxidants and you want it from whole foods. Our organic blue-green superfood, you take 1 scoop a day, shake it up in water. It's actually delicious. 50% off. You use the code SUPERFOOD50. This is a great way for you to try it, SUPERFOOD50. For those of you that are buying lots of Fortify vitamins already, when you buy 4 products of Fortify, so let's say you buy the probiotics, the omega-3, the Focus, and the Complete Once Daily, then you get a free superfood. We're going to throw a free superfood in automatically. All right. We're going to the phones. Alan, I don't know, maybe Dunallen or someplace.
It's Dunallen, Doc.
Oh, Dunallen, okay.
Good to talk with you. Question, I have high cholesterol, and it's been creeping up. So my doctor put me on, she wanted to put me on aspirin and some other statins, but I says no. So she put me on nattokinase.
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell me what that does, and what's the typical dosage when they put you on
Yeah,
that?
I don't really know what the typical dosage, to be honest with you. Nattokinase is a natural way of helping to thin the blood a little bit versus aspirin. So it's a natural approach. And there's some very minimal evidence that it may help cholesterol. I mean, the evidence is not that overwhelming, okay? But if we improve circulation, that's a good thing. You know, it can decrease the potential side effects from elevated cholesterol, which with elevated cholesterol, maybe it increases your risk of plaque, which may increase your risk of a stroke or a heart attack. But my whole, the thing with cholesterol, you have to look at the LDL, the HDL. You have to look at what type of cholesterol, these hard cholesterol versus these fluffy cholesterol.
They're all bad.
Right. Then you have to also look at the other things, the triglycerides, C-reactive protein, homocysteine, things like that. I always tell my listeners, my mother, who's 90 years old now, amazing shape. Now, her short-term memory is not as good as it used to be, but she could be on the tennis court tomorrow. Her cholesterol for the last 40 years has been 350. My dad's a physician. You know, they tried to bring it down with statin drugs, and she's an avid tennis player. Everything they put in her statin drugs, she couldn't play tennis anymore. I mean, she had cramping in her legs. So she's 90, knock on wood. She's never been in the hospital, never had any surgery. And her cholesterol has been 350. So, you know, you always got to look and see what your doctor's saying and try to follow your doctor's advice. But there are many natural ways of helping to improve the other aspects and cholesterol. You know, believe it or not, coconut water, drinking coconut water has been shown as a natural way of lowering cholesterol. Taking niacin, all right, the type that makes you flush, can lower cholesterol.
What dosage
Diet.
would that be?
What's that?
What dosage would that be on the niacin?
Yeah, so niacin, I always recommend starting low dosage first. I mean, literally. I mean, start with 50 milligrams, maybe twice a day to make sure you don't have an overly uncomfortable flushing. And you want to use the type that causes the flushing, the regular niacin, not the no flush, not the time released, all right? Those can actually potentially be bad for your liver. And I always start with 50 milligrams twice a day. And if you don't have any problems with that, then you can double and triple that, you know, easily. I mean, most doctors are recommending 500 and some up to 1,000 milligrams a day of niacin. But, you know, I'm green eyes and blonde hair. You know, if I took 1,000 milligrams or even 500 milligrams of niacin, I'd think I was about to die. I'd be turning red as a beet and start to itch. So you got to just get to the point where it's not uncomfortable. Now, that flush that you get, that red flush, goes away in about 20 minutes.
So it's not harmful to the liver?
Not in low dosages, no, absolutely not. No, I would not take super high dosages unless you're under your doctor's supervision.
Okay. And I heard that lecithin, some are taking it because they say it's like a roto-rooter for your arteries. Lecithin.
Yeah, I would be careful with lecithin. There's some new evidence. I took lecithin out of our protein powder recently because there's some new evidence that lecithin actually may cause atherosclerotic plaque. And, you know, people take it as a fat emulsifier, right? Yeah. So, and we certainly don't want to take soy lecithin, anything a soy derivative. So if you were taking lecithin, take a non-soy derived. But I would actually stay away from lecithin. I think the jury's still out on it right now. I wouldn't take it right now.
It's going in the garbage today. A question, silicone and titanium dioxide, it's in many vitamin supplements. What's your opinion of that?
They use that as binders. They use that as coating, as ways actually to help with the coating so it sticks to it. There is not one clinical study out there. If you look online, there's a lot of people that are saying it's terrible, it's bad, and all this. There's not one clinical study out there saying that it harms you at all. There's such a small amount, okay, that it's negligible, and it's only in the coating. It's not actually in the vitamin. So the way you can get around that is veggie caps, all right? Veggie caps usually don't have that in it. Tablets have that, but certain tablets are beneficial because you can get a lot more in a tablet than you can in a veggie cap.
Okay. And one last question. Now, the FDA is an organization set up to police drugs, drug companies, and so forth, but there's so many different vitamin supplement companies, and where do you go to check out to see how good they are, what they did, or you know what I'm saying? Is there an FDA for the vitamin supplement company that you can go research on?
Well, yeah. I mean, the FDA controls supplements, and the FTC does as well. All right, people don't realize that you can't use things that are not FDA approved in the vitamins in the United States. So, and there's many other companies, NFC, the FDA, the FTC. There's a few others. If you wanted to email me at idude92@icloud.com. So that's EYEDUDE92@icloud.com. I can send you some more information and some other places. Also, Consumer Labs does a pretty good job too.
Okay. And one compliment, I've been taking your Fortify, and I actually see better without my glasses on now than I did with them.
All right. Hallelujah.
Okay. Thank you, Doc.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. All right. Let's go back to the phones. I think Eleanor maybe has been waiting patiently. Eleanor, good morning.
Good morning, doctor. Thank you for being on the radio. I think you're great.
Thank you.
I have high cholesterol. I've been on every kind of statin, and after 35 years, I needed open heart surgery, triple bypass. 3 years. Everything's fine. I'm not on any medication. But when I went back on the statins, I got backache that came around to the pelvic area. So I'm on something called Welchol, WELCHOL. And that's supposed to remove this cholesterol from the intestines, and it bypasses the liver. I found that, all right, we'll try it. Of course, you have to keep it 4 hours away from any other medication, which they took me off of Lavasa, which is a prescription, and put me on a prescription Vasepta.
Right,
V
right.
like Victor.
That's prescription fish oil, right? I mean, Lavasa was for triglycerides. It's an ethyl ester-based omega-3 fish oil.
Yeah, and I know you say it's not that great.
I don't love them because I think the triglyceride form is more bioavailable. It's more stable. It absorbs much more rapidly, and you can take less and get a better and get better bang for the buck.
Right. So what about this Vasepta? Is that?
Yeah, that's another type of omega-3, if I recall. Okay, I think it's higher in DHA than EPA. I don't know enough about it, to be honest with you, to comment on it. I really don't. But I have, hundreds, if not thousands of patients that have been taking our Fortify Super Omega. We got cardiologists and rheumatologists recommending it all over the world that have benefited dramatically. And it's not a prescription. It's $28. It's the same level as Lavasa. The EPA and DHA is almost identical, but it actually absorbs much more readily. It doesn't have to cleave the ethanol off in the liver every day. So potentially, I think it's much safer. All right.
And yours, yeah.
But you can talk to your physician about it. You can show that to him because, and I don't recommend you stopping any medications your doctor puts you on unless you discuss that with him.
Right. And what about this Welchol? You never heard of it?
Yeah, I've heard of it, but I just don't know enough about it. It's hard for me to know everything about every drug.
I know.
But if it's not passing through the liver every day, I think that's a good thing, okay?
Yes, it's a very old drug.
Music's on. We got to go. All right. Take care. I want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening to Ask the Doctor. I'll be back next week for another hour. Have a great day, and God bless you.
Can I see the sky? Is this the prize for having learned how not to cry.